You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
Welcome back. Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski was one of many lawmakers blindsided by the threat of a federal funding freeze. We sat down this week to talk about the impact that could have. And we did talk prior to the White House rescinding the order entirely on Wednesday. But she still says this could just be a sign of things to come for the next 4 years. Here's our interview with Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski. Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Great to be with you, Cole.
I feel like it's important. I should date this interview right now. We're talking Tuesday, shortly after noon. My first questions are about this new executive order we've seen come down from the Trump administration, essentially freezing federal grants. It's still unclear right now as to how widespread this freeze is, what the impact of it is. The thing we seem to know for sure is that it's going to have an impact on Medicaid services. What can you tell us about what you've heard so far, what's been communicated to your office, and what should people be on the lookout for?
Look, I think the executive order that came out this morning was deeply disturbing and I think created a lot of panic, not just in Washington, but I can tell you right here in central and southern Illinois. I have heard from my mayors throughout this district. I've heard from constituents that are very concerned about their individual benefits being impacted. I know that President Trump's administration is saying right now that with this executive order, individual benefits won't be impacted, but that's just not true. I mean, and you can see that specifically here in Illinois when we have tried to access the Medicaid portal. We are shut out of the Medicaid portal right now, and I can say for a lot of the communities throughout central and southern Illinois that rely on Medicaid reimbursement, those dollars for services that they provide to individual constituents right here in central and southern Illinois, it is making an impact, and it is creating a lot of fear, a lot of panic, and so I'm hoping that we're going to get more clarity from this administration on what they're trying to do. I would say, first of all, the executive order, from what we understand, the legality of it is actually in very serious question. The people that have the power of the purse, the people that have the ability to actually pass a budget. We came together and did this on a bipartisan basis, Republicans and Democrats. That's the spending. Those are the checks that the Office of the Management and Budget need to be cutting. Congress has the power of the purse, not the presidency. And so that's why this is so deeply disturbing. He is rolling back spending obligations that have already been made to communities and to individuals. I would argue the reason that he's doing this is just foreshadowing of the tax debate that we're going to have ahead. President Trump wants to cut the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%. To line the pockets of the super rich in this country and give corporations more of a tax break. Who's going to pay for that? And I am going to be fighting like hell to make sure that working families here in central and southern Illinois aren't impacted. And I think this executive order today is getting at that.
For this to just happen on a whim like this, on a random Monday night, and then everybody kind of have to navigate the fallout without a clear way forward present right now, is that just a sign of things to come for the next 4 years? It seems like he has no issue really pushing the legal limits of his power.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, and I think it's deeply disturbing when you consider the next 4 years ahead of us. It's not just this recent executive order freezing all federal grants and the legality, serious legal challenges that are going to be faced around that. You know, we had a flurry of executive orders last week as well that were also deeply concerning, one of which was challenging birthright citizenship, which is something that's actually enshrined in our Constitution. He wants to challenge that. And then you had other, I think, things, executive orders that were not respectful of the rule of law when he gave a blanket pardon to all of the January 6th insurrectionists, some of which hurt, injured, murdered, killed some law enforcement officers that were there on the site on the day of that incident, on that day of the insurrection. The fact that he gave them a blanket pardon, where is the respect for the rule of law? And that's something that I think is deeply disturbing, and today is just a further continuance of those real concerns that I have.
So the president has done all of what you were just talking about there. And yeah. An important thing to remember from this entire thing is the majority of voters in America voted for this. The popular vote, the Electoral College, they voted him into office. Is this what you think that voters were expecting when he went into office? Or was there another element that he had to his campaign that maybe not covered up, but at least was more important to voters than this? A lot of these actions that he has foreshadowed. I mean, when we talk about the immigration, mass deportations, what's referred to as the bloat in government, or the cut downs in spending. I mean, is that just do you think that the voters voted for this? And if they did, how do you turn that around?
I think voters voted for change. I think voters voted for someone that they believed were going to help bring down the cost of their everyday expenses, whether that's going to the grocery store, whether that's addressing the cost of childcare. I would tell you, Cole, that is not what this administration is focused on. I attended the swearing in, as you know, last week, and I would tell you the thing that stood out to me the most is on stage with him were 5 of the richest people in this world. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, Zuckerberg from Facebook, Tim Cook from Apple. What do those folks understand about the struggles of working families in central and southern Illinois? That's what Donald Trump sold to voters, is that was his top concern, but reflected on the very stage of where he was sworn into office, the opposite is what I saw. And so what I think my job is to make sure I stay focused on the concerns of working people, that I stay focused on addressing affordable housing, that I stay focused on addressing affordable child care, bringing down the cost so people can afford. Those are the issues that keep people up at night, and I have not seen since the very beginning of even before he was sworn into office that has been his focus.
All right. Well, Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.